Another crime case to fuck your head up. Warning, this is a true crime case. You have not been warned, now let's get into this case. It is 1987 in Arlington, Virginia. 44-year-old Susan Tucker is a publications editor who is working for the United States Forestry Service. We are in late November, around the time of Thanksgiving. Susan is spending this holiday alone because her husband, Reggie Tucker, is out of the country in the United Kingdom for a business trip. They are calling each other every single day. It's hard to put the phone down because they miss each other so much. Until suddenly these calls stop. And the neighbors notice Susan's bedroom window open. Having a window open isn't suspicious, but given the fact that it was freezing temperatures, the neighbors thought it would be uncommon for Susan to have her window open, so they call police. When police arrive at Susan's home, they notice the front door is ajar, giving them easy entry to the home. As soon as they enter, they see a female's purse on the floor in front of the stairs with all of its components spilled out. They finally make their way to Susan's bedroom, where they find her in her bed, face down and badly decomposed. She had been dead for 4 or 5 days. She was in a position to where her feet were hanging off the bed and her head was hanging slightly off the other side. She was completely face down. Her stomach was on the bed. Her hands were tied behind her back, connecting to her neck, so the rope was around her neck. Whoever did this had been in the house for quite some time because the drawers were open in multiple different rooms. The house had clearly been ransacked. This is only the beginning of a long reign of terror people are about to experience. Detective Joe Horgus of the Arlington Police Homicide Unit is quickly assigned to the case. Right away, it is difficult. Whoever did this wore gloves because there were no fingerprints and the perpetrator had cleaned up around the house. He particularly cleaned up around his point of entry, and they figured out his point of entry because the basement window had been busted in. He cleaned up so much so that there weren't even any footprints. After Susan Tucker's murder, it jogs the police department's memory of a woman who was murdered 3 years earlier, only 4 blocks away from Susan Tucker. A woman by the name Carolyn Hom. Carolyn Hom was a 34-year-old lawyer who was strangled in her home. Carolyn's perpetrator entered her home the exact same way Susan's perpetrator entered hers. Carolyn's basement window was busted in. She was also tied up in the exact same fashion Susan Tucker was. A rope around her neck, stringing down her back to her hands. Right now, Detective Joe Horgus is working on Susan Tucker's murder. And during this exact time, 100 miles away in Richmond, Virginia, police are investigating a string of murders relatively similar. 35-year-old Debbie Davis and 37-year-old Susan Hellmans. Both Debbie and Susan were found inside of their homes with the same outcome. Debbie was found when police made a welfare check on her. Her parents hadn't got any calls from her. Debbie was deceased in her bed with the exact same tied rope pattern. Susan Hellman was found by her husband. When he left the home and then returned, she was in their closet on the floor, partially clothed. Here's where things just get chilling. Even in your home with your family, you're not safe. You're most likely more safe, yes, but not 100% safe. If it's late for you, maybe wait until the morning to watch part 2, because that's what's coming up next. Go to part 2 if you can handle any more.